Detective Ethan Cole had seen many horrific scenes in his career, but nothing could have prepared him for the chilling case that awaited him in the secluded town of Ravenswood. Nestled in the shadow of dense, ancient woods, the town had a reputation for mysterious occurrences and unsolved disappearances. When the latest victim, a young woman named Sarah Mitchell, went missing, it was clear that something malevolent was at play. Ethan arrived in Ravenswood on a foggy autumn evening, the sun barely visible behind a shroud of thick clouds. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of decaying leaves and something far more sinister. He checked into a small inn, the only accommodation available in the remote town, and prepared to meet the local sheriff, Henry Baker. Henry was an older man with a stern demeanor, his face lined with worry. He greeted Ethan with a firm handshake and led him to the town hall, where they reviewed the details of Sarah's disappearance. She was last seen near the old Blackwood mansion, Henry explained, his voice heavy with concern. It's been abandoned for years, but locals say it's haunted. They claim they've seen strange lights and heard eerie sounds coming from the place. Ethan raised an eyebrow, skeptical of the supernatural tales. Haunted or not, there's a logical explanation for everything. We'll find out what happened to Sarah. The next morning, Ethan set out for Blackwood Mansion. The mansion stood at the edge of the woods, its once grand facade now weathered and crumbling. Vines crept up the walls, and the windows were shattered, giving it an eerie, lifeless appearance. As Ethan approached, a chill ran down his spine, but he dismissed it as a reaction to the cold air. He pushed open the creaking front door, its hinges groaning in protest. The inside was even more dilapidated than the exterior. Dust and cobwebs covered every surface, and the floorboards creaked under his weight. The air was thick with the musty smell of decay. Ethan carefully made his way through the mansion, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He explored room after room, finding nothing but remnants of a bygone era. Just as he was about to leave, a faint sound caught his attention. It was a low, guttural whisper, coming from the basement. His heart pounding, Ethan descended the narrow staircase to the basement. The air grew colder with each step, and the whispering grew louder. At the bottom of the stairs, he found himself in a dark, damp room. In the center of the room was a large, ornate mirror, its surface covered in grime. Ethan felt a sense of unease as he approached the mirror. He reached out to wipe away the grime, revealing a reflection that was not his own. Staring back at him was a ghostly figure, its eyes hollow and lifeless. He recoiled in horror, but the figure remained, its gaze locked on him. Suddenly, the room was filled with a deafening roar, and Ethan was thrown to the ground. The mirror shattered, and the ghostly figure vanished. When he regained his composure, he saw a trapdoor beneath the mirror's frame. Summoning his courage, Ethan pried open the trapdoor and descended into a hidden chamber. The chamber was filled with occult symbols and ritualistic objects. In the center of the room lay Sarah, unconscious but alive. Ethan rushed to her side and checked her pulse. She was breathing, but weak. He carefully carried Sarah out of the mansion and back to the inn, where the local doctor tended to her. As she regained consciousness, Sarah recounted her harrowing ordeal. "I was drawn to the mansion," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Something was calling to me. When I got there, I saw the mirror and then everything went dark. The next thing I remember is you finding me." Ethan knew that the case was far from over. The haunted mansion was more than just an old building, it was a gateway to something dark and malevolent. He decided to dig deeper into the mansion's history, hoping to uncover the truth behind the sinister events. He spent the next few days researching the mansion's past. He learned that it had been built in the early 1800s by a wealthy family, the Blackwoods. They were known for their fascination with the occult and had conducted numerous rituals in the mansion's basement. Tragedy struck when the entire family mysteriously disappeared, leaving the mansion abandoned. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Ethan returned to the mansion, this time with a team of forensic experts. As they examined the basement, they discovered hidden passages and secret rooms, all filled with dark artifacts and evidence of the Blackwoods' rituals. One of the experts, Dr. Emily Carter, specialized in paranormal phenomena. She examined the shattered mirror and confirmed that it was a powerful conduit for summoning spirits. She explained that the Blackwoods had likely opened a portal to another realm, allowing malevolent entities to enter our world. As night fell, the team set up equipment to monitor any supernatural activity. Cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic field detectors were placed throughout the mansion. Ethan and Emily decided to stay in the basement, hoping to capture evidence of the paranormal. At midnight, the equipment began to malfunction. Cameras flickered, and the audio recorders picked up strange, unintelligible whispers. The temperature in the basement dropped suddenly, and the air grew thick with a sense of dread. Ethan and Emily felt an oppressive presence, as if they were being watched. Out of the shadows, the ghostly figure from the mirror materialized, its hollow eyes fixed on them. The figure was joined by other spirits, all victims of the Blackwoods' dark rituals. They circled Ethan and Emily, their whispers growing louder and more menacing. Emily, armed with her knowledge of the paranormal, began to recite an incantation to banish the spirits. As she spoke, the spirits shrieked and writhed, their forms becoming distorted. The room trembled, and the symbols on the walls began to glow with an eerie light. Ethan and Emily could feel the malevolent energy being drawn toward the shattered mirror. With a final burst of strength, Emily completed the incantation, and the spirits were sucked into the mirror, which reassembled itself and glowed with an otherworldly light before shattering into countless pieces. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the temperature returned to normal. The spirits were gone, and the mansion was finally at peace. Ethan and Emily collected the shattered mirror pieces as evidence and left the mansion, knowing that they had closed the portal and ended the Blackwoods' dark legacy. Back at the inn, Sarah thanked Ethan for saving her. She was still shaken by her experience but relieved that the nightmare was over. Ethan assured her that she was safe and that the mansion's dark influence was gone for good. As Ethan prepared to leave Ravenswood, Sheriff Henry Baker expressed his gratitude. "You've done this town a great service, Detective Cole. We owe you our thanks." Ethan nodded, his mind still racing with the events of the past few days. "Just doing my job, Sheriff. But I hope we never have to deal with something like this again." With the case solved and the truth uncovered, Ethan left Ravenswood, carrying with him the knowledge of the horrors he had faced. He knew that the supernatural was real, and that there were dark forces beyond comprehension. But he also knew that courage, determination, and the search for truth could overcome even the most malevolent of evils. As he drove away, the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the landscape. Ethan couldn't help but feel a sense of hope, knowing that the darkness had been vanquished and that the light of truth would always prevail.